I look exhausted, it's because I am. So, fun fact today, I took my Adderall because I actually felt like I slept well last night, which I haven't in forever. Um, and I woke up and I was like, I'm not going to fast today because um, it's beginning of the week. And when I fast, it can mess with my energy levels. And I have a lot um, of cleaning I need to do because I had a show this weekend, which I'll talk about in a second. And anyway, I took an Adderall, or two Adderalls, sorry. It's 10 milligrams. Milligrams? Anyway. And I normally take 10 to 15, and I haven't been taking it in the last couple months because I moved to Texas and it is impossible to get my prescription filled, which has been a nightmare. But I've finally talked to a new doctor, and supposedly I'm supposed to be getting it filled. I don't know. I need to follow up on that today because, yeah, they never actually messaged me like they were supposed to. So fun times. Just having a nightmare getting prescriptions filled. So anyway, so I took it a couple times last week, and I was getting some headaches and stuff after taking it, and I know that has happened before, but not usually every time I take it. So, like probably imbalance and all those things. So I took it today because I have a lot of stuff I need to get done. And I passed out like hard. I ate. So I ate food and I passed out extra hard. Like tired, passed out. Not like fall on the ground passed out, but like I could not keep my eyes open. It was so hard to stay awake. Now, I had to Google it, and this has happened before, but not super frequently. But I did have to Google it just to verify that I knew what the heck I was talking about. And sometimes, so what Adderall does is it calms down the ADHD brain, and it makes it so you can focus on literally anything. So I have what I call popcorn brain, and I have OCD, and my brain just won't shut up sometimes. It's just real obnoxious. So that's why I will take Adderall so that I can calm down the bouncy thoughts, and I can focus on what I'm doing. So like getting chores done, getting my bills paid, prioritizing my week. So it's like very important on Mondays, especially, so I can try to like come up with my meal plan for the week, and just I want to kick the week off strong. So yeah, so it was unfortunate to pass out super hard and basically lose the first couple hours of my day. Yeah, I looked it up and it says online, a lot of medical professionals have stated that it is if you have not slept well, if you have lack of sleep and you take Adderall because it calms your brain down, it finally allows your brain to rest. And that's what my body needed. My brain and my body were just like, hey, we're not having as many bouncy thoughts, and you don't have as many like spasms going on in your body, and everything's pretty chill. So let's just take a nap. Let's just like not right now. So complete polar opposite of what I was going for, but apparently what my body really needed. So I don't feel, I told my husband, it's so weird because I told my husband this morning, I was like, it's so weird. I woke up and I felt like I had slept, but I also feel like I have a sleep hangover. It was very exciting to be able to sleep, but it felt awkward and weird to have a sleep hangover. It's like I just felt foggy, and so that I need to start wearing like a little sleep tracker thing, because what more than likely happened is I probably didn't sleep well. I probably did sleep to some capacity, but it was probably more of a restless sleep than I realized. I don't remember waking up all night long, and usually I remember waking up all night long. And that's kind of how I determine whether or not it's been a good night's rest. So probably not a good night's rest. So my husband uses a Whoop. It's called Whoop, and it's a wrist thing you wear, and it tracks your activity and your sleep levels. And I've used it previously, and I definitely need to start on that again. And I have ADHD, so I just like can't remember to save my life to do that. So I'll put it. I always make a joke. I'm like, I'll put it on my list. It's like my never-ending list of things that I should be doing that I am not doing because I have crippling ADHD, and I keep telling people that, and they don't quite understand. So, anyway, yeah. So I had a show. Moving on. Took a nap. Crocheting right now and not doing my chores. This is not my crochet hour, but I just need to do something chill and calm before I get moving on to my tasks. I did do a show this last weekend. It was a Star Wars May 4th show, and that was cool. And I got to use my brand new tent. I was a little flustered at first because I never got around to putting it up before the show, so I wasn't quite sure how to put it up. But I've put up so many tents in my life that I was able to figure it out pretty quickly. I had my two sons with me that were able to help, which was awesome. And the tent was awesome. It's the most expensive tent I have ever purchased. It was nearly $300, and I think it's Euromax. It's from Costco. My last tent was from Costco, from the Costco Business Center. And I think it was a canopy. No, it wasn't. It was something else. Okay, I don't remember. Anyway, it was amazing. It's probably still my favoriteest tent I've ever had, and I think maybe it was $200, and I left that in California, so couldn't use that. And anyway, this is cool because this is UV resistant. So there's a lot of very harsh UV here where I'm at, and I don't want to die of skin cancer. And I've already started getting like little skin markings. I swear to God, like the second I moved here, I started just getting extra freckly. And I wear sunscreen like every day, but I just don't wear enough, I guess. Anyway, it's another conversation for another day. I'm having trouble breathing. Like I'm having shortness of breath. So I'm going to do some yoga in a little bit here, and I know that'll help. I have asthma, and lack of sleep does affect my breathing significantly. So anyway, the event was fun. It's my first time doing the event in my town. I live in a very low income area, and what's interesting about that is that there is a hodgepodge of people that live here because the income level is so low that means land is cheap, and then people who have money come in and buy up all the land, and then you have a very large gap in the socioeconomic culture here. So hopping around my thought train a little bit, I love doing crochet. I would love to continue doing crochet, and I think of it as a hobby because it is kind of hit or miss on finances. I've definitely invested more than I've made back, but not by a lot, which is really cool. I'll get to that. So in my little hodgepodge of an area, I know that the vast majority of items that I should make should be between $5 and $25. So that is what I did. I did not sell more than one item in that price range. And I'm not surprised, to be honest. So I know that I'm going to make a whole lot of chickens and other items that will fall within that range, because that is the vast majority of the economic structure in my area. However, there are people that do move into the area that make better money, and I know that they will be able to afford the 45 to 65 range, which is the next section I spend a lot of time on. And I actually would prefer to do more in that area because I enjoy, they're what I would call, I have no dolls around me right now. They're like a medium-sized doll. What I would think of like as a child, the kind of doll that I would want to take around. So maybe around that size. And I price according to how long it takes me to make things. So those dolls do tend to usually take a few hours to make. And I don't really have anything in the 25 to 40 range. I need to kind of focus on that a little more, but I did have a decent amount within the 45 to 65 range, and I did sell 3 dolls in that range, which was great. So that basically covered my costs for the event, which was $35. And it covered some of my cost of materials. And that between that and my previous show, I think my previous show, I made $250 and I had no fee. So that had covered the cost of my yarn, my initial startup yarn. And then this one, I didn't actually price that out. I should probably do that. Maybe I'll do that right now. Okay, so I have this awesome book that I got from Disneyland. I'm obsessed with Disneyland. And it was a May the 4th Star Wars theme, so Mandalorian was perfect for that. Okay, so I have ADHD. We're in a side quest here. I thought it was really cute that they had these symbols. And I have, I do journal style, so I always start off with a page and I number all the pages all throughout the entire book so that I can be a spaz and I can pick a random page to do stuff. And this was my inventory page for the event. I know everything's all backwards because I am videotaping myself this way to make sure that I'm actually in the picture. Okay, I had a large chicken, a hidey hole chicken, 2 of those, large and small. I had peeps, chicken peeps, eggs, sea turtles, rose turtle. Almost could have sold that rose turtle, but I had made a mistake on it and I made the bottom of it pink and then instead of all red. And they said if it was all red, they would have bought it. I'm like, dang it. I had 2 cows, so I sold 1 cow, and he was a dapper fellow. And actually, okay, that cracked me up. I'll get to that. All right. The cow was $55, and he was about this big. Great detail item. I had 2 tiny bunnies, my lamb that nobody wants, because he was supposed to be a bunny, but he ended up looking like a lamb. Jelly bunnies. So this is interesting. I gave away a jelly bunny. So I'm going to cross that out and put give away because I saw an autistic boy and I'm autistic and he was struggling and he needed something to put in his hands. So I gave him a jelly bunny. I have the Peep bunnies. So I think I just had one of those. I have these small hearts and I think I'm going to give them away the next time because nobody cares. Nobody wants the hearts. I have a medium heart. Nobody's interested in them. Oh, I did sell a pot mushroom. I have regular small mushrooms. I sold 1 pot mushroom, which is great. I definitely want to make a bunch more of those. And I feel like it's because it was the red top. I had last time I sold one of the red top. It wasn't a pop mushroom, but I think people really like the red top mushrooms. So I think I need to make a bunch more of those. And I only had 2 of those, so that was cool. I had a medium mushroom. Nobody seems to care about these medium mushrooms, unfortunately. I think they look awesome, but whatever. I had a gummy bear, like a small and a medium gummy bear. Nobody seems to care about the gummy bears, and I had decreased the cost on those. And the Oreo I gave away. I had like a little green Oreo, and I'm going to put that in giveaway. Give away. That was great. So I gave that one away to a kid. And then I had 3 dragons, and those were $55. So those are like lengthwise about that long. So those are $55. They take a long time to make. They're lots of fun to make. That's crochet by Jenna. She's amazing. And everybody loved the black and purple one. They're like, "Is this an Ender Dragon?" And I was like, "Sure." Everyone loved it, but the 55 price range was a little high for them, so nobody purchased the dragons, which I was a little surprised about, but not entirely surprised about. The flower kids, they're smaller, so here's I think where there's a little disconnect here. The flower kids take a little time to make, so I had them at $45, and they were, I think that was reasonably priced, but I didn't get a ton of interest in it, and I feel like that might be just a little high for that. So I might have to take the loss on that one and drop that down to like that $35 range, because like I said, I don't have anything in that $30 to $40 range. So actually I don't have anything in that $30 to $45 range, really, not a lot of options. So I think maybe that needs to drop down. So I will reconsider that later. Then I had 5 squid, and people liked the squid, and I did sell a couple last time. So I really thought that I'd sell a bunch of squid this time, not even 1 squid. And those were 35, so that might be a little too high. I might have to reconsider the squid and drop those prices down. The small octo was only 10, no interest in it. The medium octo was 15. I had 2 of those, no, like maybe mild interest in that. There was an alligator somebody was interested in, but that was $10, and they didn't even ask how much. I had 1 leggy frog, and I think somebody was interested in it, but not interested enough to buy. I had that at 15. And I had 2, I had more whales than I have listed here. I think I had 4 whales, and no interest in the whales, really, like mild interest. Those were 15. I did have a Grogu that was a medium size, and that was 65, and I did sell that. And I had a Yoda, which I forgot to write down here, and that was supposed to be 25, but I gave it away with the Grogu. So I'll put giveaway, because it just didn't really, it looked kind of like Shrek a little bit, and I was like, dang it, I didn't do the ears the way I wanted to. And this guy was really excited about the Grogu, and I'm like, you know what, I'm gonna let you have both if you want them. So he took both. He was really excited, and he even posted it on Instagram, and that was really cool. And the other thing is I sold the Jawa, and he was a $55. He's like a medium, maybe about that size. I loved this Jawa, and I want to make a million of them. The Jawa was super cute. So the last minute things that I made for the Star Wars event, I sold the 2 of them. The only ones I made, because I wish I had time to have made more, and I didn't. So I didn't do as well as I would like to in that regard. But that was pretty cool. So I sold a $15 mushroom. That was my only low-cost item that I sold. I sold a $65 Grogu, a $55 Jawa, and a $55 cow. So I hold on. Okay, so I sold 4 items. The booth fee was $35, so I made $190. After the booth fee of $35, I made $155. My average yarn haul is about $150, so I have done 2 of those, so I've spent about $300. I've spent more than $300, but it's like, I'm just going to average. I've spent about $300 since I've started on yarn. I've spent $300 on the tent, so about $600 on that. And I have in total made about, I just had a blank, $400. So my overhead is somewhere in the range of 600 and my profit is somewhere in the range of 400. So at the moment, I'm working in a negative about 200. And again, I'm just kind of like ballparking this, just to give you and myself an idea of where I'm at in my business journey. And I honestly, that's really not bad. That's really not bad for a new business. Unfortunately, in any business, you have to have money to make money. That's just the reality of things. And I am teaching improv classes. Last session for my son's school, I taught crochet classes, and I'm teaching private vocal lessons. All of those things are paying for this. So that's all. That's all. I mean, I'm using it for groceries and gas and stuff too. But anything that money is not something that I depend on. It's a bonus. It's like it's my side quest money. Because my full-time job is the home and the kids and the school and the admin stuff and the cooking and the cleaning, and that is a lot. So this is very much my side quest stuff. So I use that money to invest in this startup. And so long as I'm not living outside of my means in that regard, I'm not over investing, then I'm good. So so that's not bad. Honestly, for only 2 events, that's really not bad. The first event I did was very much a high income area. So I was not surprised to make $250 for that event. This event being a mixed group, I am honestly a little surprised that I made as much as 100. I kind of expected to not really sell much of anything. I was going in with the expectation that I would cover my cost and have a good time. And I did. It was a lot of fun. My 9-year-old won the Wookiee contest, making the Wookiee noise, and we didn't even know he could do that. He's autistic and has not historically been a real big go-getter in that capacity. He's not like a throw yourself out there kind of kid, but he's been gaining in a lot of confidence because he goes to an amazing school. It's called Alpha. It's amazing. They're predominantly based out of Austin. We're not in Austin, but they are also opening in California soon, and they're the coolest school on the planet. So we are fortunate. We have a scholarship to be able to go to that at a more reasonable price. And they are awesome. And they're working out more scholarships for more people in our, like I said, low income area. So that's the goal, is to make sure kids get an education. So yeah, it was really cool. Both my sons helped. And they were very helpful. My older one was very helpful with the technical, like setup, tear down, making sure he kept an eye on his brother for the most part. So that was really good. If they were like doing the competition stuff, it was within eyesight of where I was at. But if I had somebody come up to the booth, I couldn't keep, like hawk eyes on them at all times. So it was nice to be able to have that option, to have, a responsible big brother to keep an eye out and stuff. Overall, I think it went really well. My display was not that great. I need to work on my display. I did find what I used as a bookshelf in our old house. It used to have wheels, but the wheels got totally trashed. And I brought this bookshelf because I was going to use it again for the kids, and it collapses down, and it was actually perfect for the display. It looked fantastic. I didn't know that was going to be as good as it was. So I used that. I use these gold wire circles for the chickens, and people really liked the chicken display, so it looks like they're little nests. So that was really cool. I got this pegboard that's for, I'm going to grab it. Okay, I got this peg. This is for thread. And it has these little like backings that you can have it stand up. So I got this, and I thought it was just the most clever thing in the world. And when I put the display on it, it just didn't look as good as I thought it would. It was great because it was taller, and you could really just like scan through all the small items, because I did focus on making a lot of small items, and it did bring people in because they're like, oh, I see a rabbit, but the rabbits, I feel those were like 25 and they're small, and I think that was just a too high of a price point. So, and I didn't get a lot of flack for that. So I did explain, people don't seem to understand that it's handmade, and I need to get a big sign that says handmade, because when I would tell people it's 25 and they're like shocked. I'm like, it's because it's handmade. They go, oh yeah, of course. Like, okay, so people are okay with it being handmade and having a higher cost point, but with that, like, I guess it's just not obvious. I got that a lot. So I guess it's not super obvious when you see something like this, when you see a crocheted animal, that it's handmade. So I did find I was explaining a lot. These are all handmade. It's crochet that cannot be duplicated by a machine. It has to be done loop by loop. And so everything is priced according to the amount of time it took for me to make. And people were really responsive to that, which is cool. So I like that. So that was, I need to work on my display. I moved it around quite a few times. I had 2 tables. I had a table already for my previous business in California, which is great. So that's something I didn't have to spend extra money on. I borrowed a table from a neighbor, which I need to return. So that was cool to be able to have 2 tables. I did purchase table covers, which I think made a huge difference in the visual display. Because it was a Star Wars event, we have a bunch of Star Wars stuff. So I actually took like the boxes with the robot in it, or with the stuffed animal that we got from Disneyland, and I put those up, and I think that made a big difference. So I need to think of what else I can decorate at the front to make a big difference, because that looked fantastic. So I need to figure out something along those lines. I think for this, jumping around a little bit, I think I need to paint it. I think, I don't know what color to paint it, but I'm thinking maybe like a metallic purple, because my colors are kind of like a emerald green already. So I have the tablecloths are emerald green. So like maybe a metallic purple would be kind of cool. So I don't know. I'll have to think about that, but that would be another cost. So something to think about. So I had various other levels and display options. I have these wire racks and everything. And it just didn't look good. So I'm going to have to figure that out. I had some shelves like wire rack shelves, but I have my wire racks were in like black and white, and the colors, and then I had the wood here, and then the plastic tower thing that I found that worked really well was gray, and it's just like my color scheme was just all over the place. So I need to work on that. And then one of the things that actually went really well, and it brought a lot of people to my booth and in front of my booth, which was cool. It did not result in a lot of sales, but it did result in a lot of fun. So I'll grab it. Okay, so my kids did this. It's all backwards. Sorry about that. But they wrote this all out, and what we did is we told people when they walked up, I would say, I am so sorry. Unfortunately, we have been taken over by the Empire, and these Sith Lords, my kids they had black robes on, so they like these, and they had the lightsabers. Like, these Sith Lords are forcing everybody to do a check to see if they are part of the Empire or if they're rebel scum. If you are part of the Empire, or basically a bad guy, then you are safe. But if you are rebel scum, unfortunately, you are going to have to play a game to save your life. So the people, they got a huge kick out of it. They're like, because people would come up and they'd ask if they had to pay to play the game. And I was like, no, here's the deal. So it was fun. So they'd spin, and then most of them on here are good guys, which is just kind of inadvertently my kids did that. So if they got a bad guy, then I'd say like, oh, good, congratulations. If they got Stormtrooper, I'm like, thank you for your service. And they would get a laugh for it. And then if they got a good guy, they get like Yoda or a Jedi or Padawan or something, then I'm like, ooh, yeah, unfortunately, I'm going to have to make you play this game to save your life. No pressure. People just got a huge kick out of it. So we had this big circular planetary system, and you have these little balls that are Velcro, and you throw the ball, and you can there's different targets. So I'd tell them you have to get into the 80 spot, and so you have to keep throwing. There's a line, like the kids would explain, like you have to stand behind the line, and you have to throw until you get to the 80 spot. And I would just heckle them the entire time. Like they'd throw it. I'm like, oh yeah. I mean, that's not a great start, but that's okay. Let's keep trying. Let's keep trying. And they're like, how many chances do you get? I'm like, I mean, it's your life, so we'll try to give you as many chances as we can. And so they just ha ha ha, and they keep throwing, and it became this like big competition thing because people are like, I know I can throw better than this. So they like even adults, it was like at all ages. So they'd throw, and then if they were really bad, I'm like, are you part stormtrooper? Are you sure you don't work for the Empire? And people would laugh and like maybe get a little closer, maybe just like a little closer, and I just keep putting them closer until they're like right at the target. So everybody won eventually, and then it was really funny because people are so used to getting prizes like for everything, and I didn't have any prizes, and this was kind of like a last minute silly thing we put together. So I would turn to my autistic son, who's not super verbal, because it was fun to kind of like get him used to this interaction, and I'd say, Sith Logan, what did they win? And he'd look at them and he'd go, your life. And people would just be dying, and he was just like not dying, they won their life. So most people got the joke, most people laughed pretty hard, and they're like, oh my gosh, okay, haha, that was pretty funny. And they would go tell their friends, and they would drag their friends, and so this became like a whole thing through the entire event where I actually had to put it away at one point because I was like exhausted from doing this because it was a whole spiel. So yeah, so that was a lot of fun, and what's really telling about certain people is my husband and I call it the gotta get mine mentality, where they're very concerned about getting theirs, and it's all about them, and they are the star of their own show. And I only had a couple of them who were like, well, wait, what? There's no prize? They're like indignant. And I'm like, well, there's no prize more valuable than your life. So no. That's it. You get your life. Congratulations. And then it's one of those things where like most people I think are relatively good and kind and mean well, and most people get the joke, and they, even if they're a little disappointed because they were hoping to get something out of it, they're not going to like throw a hissy about it. But every once in a while you get those Kens and Karens who they gotta throw a fit. They're like, well, I just like wasted my time. They have that whole attitude, like I just wasted my time, and I didn't even get anything out of it. So I did have a couple of those, and I told my husband like this was kind of a trap for those kind of people. I set a trap because we have a lot of those people in my area. And it was really funny to watch because with the peer pressure aspect of it, where you have everybody else is like in on the joke and they're laughing, and you're ramping up to throw a tantrum because you didn't get a 20-cent piece of garbage toy or piece of candy. It's harder to throw the tantrum when everyone's looking. And everyone's like, you recognize that you're not on the same page as everybody else that's there. So it was an interesting little like thought experiment. And I think I only had like 2 people who were really struggling to maintain the tantrum because they were supposed to get theirs and they didn't. But most people thought it was funny and brought more people because they were like, ha ha ha, this is such a silly joke. And what do I get people were like quickly squashed because they were like, ha ha ha, you just get your life. They're like, okay. So it was fun. It was a lot of fun. A lot of people enjoyed it. I think I want to do this at like all of my events. I know it might not be Star Wars events, but it's kind of funny. So I might be able to come up with like different things. Like I don't know. I'll have to think about that. Like I'm making a ton of chickens. This is actually what this is. I'm making a bunch of chickens, and so maybe I'll make it like a chicken uprising. And our chicken overlords are forcing everybody to check to see if they are a human or a chicken or something like that. And if you are a human, unfortunately, you are going to have to play a game to save your life. So like, I don't know. There's a lot of ways I can play with that. So that could be a lot of fun. So I don't know. I liked it. I like the idea of having a booth that you can play in the booth, and it kept me entertained and my kids entertained. It was a fun way to get to know people and to, like, just break up the day. And I'm looking at the booths around me, and I can see that a lot of people were like sitting down the majority of the time, only coming up if people like walk directly into their booth or up to their booth. And this was a good way to like keep me entertained with my ADHD and to also just engage with people. I got a good handful of Instagram followers. I am having an identity crisis right now because I could not decide whether to have people follow me on my old Instagram or my new one. They're not new, but I was doing all of my shop in California under Hexel, and I've more or less decided to shift everything to Rude Optics. So I'm still giving out my Hexel Instagram right now because that's the one I check the most. But I'd like to switch to the Rude Optics. So this was actually, I just worked on the logo. I don't know if I'm going to stick with this logo, but it's kind of squished. So it's backwards. I'm sorry. This is the logo. Maybe if I do it this way, you can see it through the paper. So it's Rude Optics, and the whole point of it is that the second definition of rude is not the traditional definition. The second definition of optics is not what you would think of when you hear optics. And the point is that I'm a neurodivergent person, and neurodivergent people are not always what they appear to be on the surface. There's a lot more to them. That's the point of the business. It's a neurodivergent business. I made these really cute cards. Again, everything's backwards. I'm so sorry. But what I did is it says Rude Optics. Our amigurumi dolls are spot clean only, hypoallergenic, not oven safe, obviously, because Rude Optics. I had to be a little snarky. It says follow us, that little follow us thing, and then I always do QR codes, and that goes to my link tree. And the reason I do that is because I am going to be shifting from my Instagram, from Hexel to my Instagram on Rude Optics. And I had my main, I have a glass frame that has all my PayPal and Venmo and everything. So that actually still has my old Instagram on there. So I kind of sent people to both because I'm kind of in between right now. But that is preferable, is to have them go to the link tree. I like this because it's a card I could hand out to people. And it has my email in there, and I can update links. And once I get my website up and running, I can add my website to it. So if they find it a month, 2 months, 3 months from now, it'll have all the most up-to-date things on there. So I love Linktree for that. The other thing I did is I had adoption certificates. It says adoption certificate, amigurumi name, and then you put the date and then the proud parent name right there. So I thought that was cute. These, clearly my son cut these out, which is, I will probably clean up later. So a couple things I brought my name to put out there so people can start familiarizing themselves with my name. I brought a larger QR code scan, which I did not end up using. I think I need a frame for it. I printed out a whole bunch of these to do prices on them, so I can just price everything and they can lift it up and look at the price, and I just didn't get to it. So I'll do that later. I printed out a couple more of these, so it's shop small, handcrafted with love. I've got my old Instagram, I've got my PayPal and my Venmo, and a large adoption certificate so that I could put that on the table. That way that they knew that that was an option. So I think all of these little components, these are all things I did kind of last minute, but I think it was very helpful. to kind of create more of a seamless interaction and to just get my name out there. And I do think I should have added my name, like put Root Optics on here as well, but I didn't, so oops. Anyway, so yeah, we have a ton of these little cards that I could hand out, and yeah, what's great is this is evergreen because of that QR code. If anything changes, I can just add something different to the QR code for Linktree. So that was cool. Everything, I think it went pretty well, honestly. I am still having breathing issues, so I am going to go do some yoga and hopefully be able to breathe again. Yeah. Yeah, I think so. The next event, there is another event coming up. I think it might be next weekend, or no, it's the weekend after next. So it's in 2 weeks. There's another night market that they're doing, still low cost, run by the city. So I think they did a good job. I would be interested in doing it again. I think my only qualm to the entire event is that it was, I think that they had a vision for how they wanted the whole thing set up, and I don't think it was executed quite like they thought it would be. So I hope the next one is done a little better. There's kind of an awkwardness to the direction that they had some of the booths. So there wasn't as much of an easy flow as I think they were going for. So I think I had talked to the person who was running it, and she said she had a new team and they had this like new idea, and she was really nervous about it because she wasn't sure if they were going to quite execute it appropriately. And they did okay, but they did not execute it, I think, the way that they were hoping. It didn't end up being as free-flowing as they had anticipated. It was definitely a little bit of a stopgap, and it was a little awkward to try to walk through. Nice effort. Not quite there. And then the other thing is that the bathrooms were dirty before the event even started, and this is a public park. So I get that, but this is also run by the city. So there is no excuse for the bathroom being disgusting, not just like a little dirty, but like disgusting and full of trash and garbage and nastiness before the event started. There wasn't even freaking soap in the soap dispenser before the event started. So that was my number one biggest, like, you gross. Come on, guys. Bare minimum. Like, you're pouring all this money, time, and energy into this awesome event, and you can't even clean the bathrooms first. Like, that is a bare minimum. And they should be having somebody clean the bathrooms regularly throughout. And there was only 2 bathrooms, and there was a constant line for the bathrooms, and it was like already trashed and gross. So by the time my kids needed to go to the bathroom later in the day, they were so disgusted by the bathrooms. They were like, this is ridiculous. This is absolutely disgusting. So that was like a huge, massive fail. Huge, massive fail. That's a low hanging fruit opportunity for them. So yeah, that is my big qualm. Other than that, like, there wasn't even a trash can in there. I'm sorry, I could go on there for a while about how incredibly dismissively disappointing that one particular thing was. It just really bothers me. Just sanitation, people. Sanitation in public places, for the love of God. I'm not a germaphobe. You're a germaphobe. So overall, I think it was successful. I'm happy. I think it went well. I was exhausted the next day, but I still had a surf lesson with my family. So that's probably why I'm even more extra exhausted today, and I have a ton of cleanup to do after the event. I'm still trying to try to create space for all this yarn stuff that I'm doing. So I'm trying to each paycheck I'm buying containers. I'm going to the Dollar Tree. Those containers are garbage. They break super easily, but I enjoy them, even though they are garbage. They're super, you get what you pay for. That's what they are. You can't even look at it funny or it will break. But they are super helpful for keeping the cost down and trying to get stuff in boxes situated as quickly as possible. They're definitely not going to be any use for after this initial trial, but they will be in the garbage. And maybe I should have just invested in higher quality containers from the get-go, but then it would have taken significantly longer to get to that point. And yeah, I don't know how I feel about that. Like, I love that it is working for me right now. I don't love the sustainability. I don't like that it's not sustainable, and that I have wasted plastic and effort from somebody to make these just to have them fall apart right away. So I'm like, was it worth it? No, not really, but did it help me in the short run? Yeah, a little bit. So it is what it is. Yeah, I think that's pretty much it. I'm gonna keep cleaning up, and I will, yeah, gonna keep trying to make this business successful. So let's think about this: $200. I have to do another order that's probably about $200 of yarn. So I'm probably gonna be up into the negative $400 range before the next event, and the next event is in a slightly higher socioeconomic area, so there is a chance I will sell more. I don't know. I haven't done this event yet. If I do another night market, I can anticipate I'll make probably about the same as I made this time in that same area. It's kind of low income area. So yeah, I don't know. Maybe I will get to a profit stage by the end of the year. We will see. But in the meantime, I enjoy it. It's fun. I'm going to finish making. This is a chicken, by the way. Although I could just make like a little coaster. Wish me luck.